You're listening to The Upland Rookie, a podcast presented by Upland Brits, B Pro Kennels, Final Rise, and Inuk Shuk Professional Dog Food. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Upland Rookie Podcast. I'm your host, Will Larson, and you are listening to episode 63. Today, I sit down and chat with David Torres and Preston McKelvey from Team No Fly Zone. This is going to be part one of a 3-part series. We're going to chat with all the guys from Team No Fly Zone, and over the next month or so, might get into late October, early November, by the time we release all 3 parts from this little mini series. But we get to know these guys a little bit deeper. And what is Team No Fly Zone? Well, we'll get to hear about that a little bit more. Some of the trials these guys are running, some of the birds that they're hunting, and of course their dogs. So I hope you guys enjoy this one as much as I did. We're going to do something a little bit different today as well. We're going to roll through sponsors off the cuff. I'm not going to do any ad reads. We're just going to kind of roll through them and go from there. If you like it, let me know. If not, whatever. We'll go from there. First one, a big thank you to B Pro Kennels. Guys, if you ever considered a dog box, I say this, if you ever thought about, hey, would love to get a custom setup one day, or just would love a dog box. You kind of know what you want. You want a 2-hole box or you want a 3-hole box. Give Ben Proctor a call over at B Pro Kennels. Check him out on bprokennels.com and start dreaming. Like, what is that dream dog box that you wanted to create? Ben's got a brilliant mind in creating and designing products that are high quality and function how you need them. It's going to be different for every person. He has some standard boxes up on the website, but he's big into making the product what you want. And so if you don't want lights, or if you want a bigger solar panel, like whatever those little items are going to be, Ben's going to be your guy and get that product designed for you and put together for the back of your truck. So give him a call, bprokennels.com, or reach out to him on Instagram. Podcast listeners do get a discount. So if you are going to pull the trigger on a dog box, use code ROOKIE10. It's going to save you 10% off that dog box order, which is going to be a significant amount of money when we're talking a custom dog box that's going to last you a long time. So check them out. Next sponsor is Final Rise Gear. Guys, you know I've been rocking and loving Final Rise for the past several years. I believe this is season 3 I'm heading into with the Legacy Vest, and it is one of my favorite things I have purchased. One of my favorite things to do when I go hunting is put on that vest, load it up with shells, and start walking. And so it's just a quality gear, a lot of customization, whether it's changing out pockets, taking pockets off, adding more on. It's just a piece of gear that is going to, again, last forever, and something that you could even pass down to your kids. It's just that kind of gear that is high quality, and it's going to function, again, how you need it. It's not going to be this cookie cutter piece of gear that kind of one size fits all. This is going to be something that you can really dial in, get custom to how you want to use it, and just your body type and all that kind of stuff. So one of the other things that I really, really have loved from Final Rise has been the gloves. I don't know what they're called. Matt, you may have a fancy name for them, but they are just a really, really nice glove. It really surprised me. I wore them early September, and I was like, they're a glove at first. I was, but then I put them on, and my gosh, really, really comfortable. And you really can use your iPhone, your Garmin devices. You can use all of it without taking the glove off, which is incredible. It's a really, really nice form-fitting glove, low cuff, so it's not going to ride high on your wrist. Kind of a low cut glove, and it's been a piece of gear this year that I've been pleasantly surprised with. So if you're in the market for a pair of gloves, check them out at finalrise.com. Also want to thank Inuk Shuk Professional Dog Food. My dogs have been eating Inuk Shuk dog food for quite a while now. Win and Gage have been phenomenal on this food. Their energy levels have been super consistent through every hunt we've been on when they've been on this food. There's been some other foods that I've been on. We've gotten midday through a hunt, and they just started shutting down. They didn't have the calories in them to keep going. And I was like, what the heck's going on? Well, I switched back to Inuk Shuk probably last probably last year, switched back to a Nookshook, and I've not had that issue since. And we're running long, hard days, and these dogs' energy is consistent. Just the calorie count per cup is just so high in a Nookshook that it's just they have that reserve to burn through these long hunts. And so for any sporting dog, a dog that is super active, you're going to want to look at a Nookshook dog food. I even got Max switched over to the 26-16 blend. So he's off his puppy stuff that he was on from the breeder and fully on a Nookshook. And man, that dog can eat. he is chowing down right now on some food. He might be out eating Win and Gage both right now, but he's a puppy. So he's putting those calories in and definitely burning them off. So the other thing cool with a Nookshook is you might want to look into becoming a trusted reseller or going in on a pallet order. Maybe you have some people in your area that are on a Nookshook or want to be on a Nookshook. A really nice thing is buying in bulk from a Nookshook. And so you can do a pallet order, get that shipped to your house, and either become a reseller and resell it, go in on a pallet order with some friends of yours in your area. So kind of a cool option. It really, really keeps the cost down. But just in general, the cost per cup in this food, the value is just so awesome. I can feed a fraction of what I was feeding with some other foods, and these dogs have never looked healthier. They've never acted better since they've been on a Nookshook. So all that to say, check out a Nookshook if you haven't yet. It's been a phenomenal product. Last one, Trinity Bretons. I just saw a post today, actually a little bit ago before I jumped on this from Josh. And it looks like Moose just won another field trial out in New Jersey at a Brittany club. And Moose, if you haven't followed along this journey, I've done a couple podcasts now with Jeff Ryder and Josh Ryder, both. And Moose, he's for sure their top dog. It's just a fun story to see. It's a fun story to see this little, 34-pound, French Brittany tearing it up in these big running field trials. And he seems like a hell of a dog. More so Trinity Bretons of the kind of dogs that they're putting out. It's something I've appreciated getting to know them over the last several years, and their intentionality behind their breeding program and development of their bird dogs is it's a fascinating story. I've done 2 episodes with them. I forget the numbers off the top of my head. I did a recent one with Jeff Ryder, and we get all into breeding and COI, coefficient inbreeding, line breeding, all that kind of stuff. And man, I say the intentionality, that's the best word that comes to mind. They're not just taking dog X and breeding with dog A and saying, I think it's going to be fine, let's just do it. It'll sell puppies. No, they are putting so much time and so much effort into choosing these breedings of dogs, and they have goals of what they're trying to achieve. And it's just a fascinating family, fascinating kennel of what they're doing there at Trinity Breton. So all that to say, if you're looking for a French Brittany, I would point you guys there. I've pointed a lot of you guys to Trinity Bretons over the last couple of years. So check them out, trinitybretons.com. All right, guys, I think that's all of the ad stuff for right now. The last thing I was going to say is the winner from the Patreon giveaway did get back to me finally. He got back to me right after I released last week's episode, actually. So got back to me just in the nick of time before I was going to redraw. He did pick the Gunner Fan Kit 2.0, so that is off the table. The last prize up for grabs in October is going to be a Cable Gangs tie-out system, and I'm going to sweeten the deal. Whoever wins the Cable Gangs tie-out system, I'm going to throw in an Upland rookie hat. So 2 prizes for the price of 1. So get signed up on patreon.com, become a Patreon supporter today. And I'll announce the winner November 1st for the October giveaway. So get signed up today. You'll get the Cable Gang system as well as an Upland rookie hat. I'll throw a couple stickers in, and we'll go from there. So I appreciate everyone who is a supporter on Patreon. Really, really appreciate everyone, no matter what tier you're on. Greatly appreciate your support through that. So, all right, guys, we're going to dive right into the episode today with Preston McKelvey and David Torres.
I was just working in the shop today. Nothing fun for me. But fishing tomorrow, so any day not in the office is a good day.
There you go. That's one thing. I used to fish a lot when I was younger, but have not gotten into it since being out here in Colorado, which I should. But
yeah, now this is the place to do it.
Oh, exactly. I know people are like, you don't fish and you live in Colorado. I'm like, sorry, I have too much else to do.
I'm kind of the same way. It's like I fished a lot. I did a lot of bass fishing off of my float tube when I was in California, and it was awesome. And you literally had to go to the San Diego River or just somewhere real close and just rip lips all day. But out here, the bass fishing ain't the best. Everybody goes trout fishing. Everybody does the fly fishing. I never got into that.
I know something about the fly rods that kind of intimidate me. I'm like, I don't know. Like, it looks like it's an art form.
100%. Yeah. Preston is a guide, so he knows all that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh well, dude.
And I mean, we were just talking. August is my least favorite month to fish because the water's low, it's hot, fish are well educated. So as far as guiding goes, August gets tough, and we're in it now. So I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, we need to do a whole separate fishing upland or fishing rookie, fly fishing rookie, whole podcast on that.
That would be a good one.
Oh, that'd be fun. Well, cool, guys. We're gonna kind of jump in here. David, I'm gonna kind of pick on you for just a second. You got to tell me about your dog names. You got Dolly, Chester, and Reba. Is there a theme here?
Yeah, so there definitely was. So Chester, I got him. He was my first dog, and it was his name in black and white on his on his certificate, I guess, is Wild Winchester. So after a Winchester shotgun, I just thought it was fitting for Chester, right? But then obviously Reba, I got her next, and I'm a huge Reba fan. So, and I'd never met another Reba dog, so I was like, I'm calling her Reba, And then Dolly, she actually came in later on. Her name actually was Molly when I first took her in. But I wanted to make it my own thing and stick to that kind of theme of, country music artists that I had going with females. So, yeah.
That's good.
That's where she came
I've been dying to ask you that question ever since I've been following you on Instagram.
That's what it is. Yeah, everybody gets a kick out of it. It's funny.
Preston, do you have any fun dog name themes?
I'm on the tree theme now. I got willow and oak.
There you go.
And that it wasn't intentional when I started, but I think I'm gonna keep going. I think my next two are gonna be pinyon and cedar. And there
you go. Wait, what's a pinyon?
Yeah, like pinyon pine.
Oh, okay.
And then cedar, and then after that we'll figure it out from there.
you gotta get creative.
Yeah. That's cool.
Well, that's awesome, guys. That's awesome. Well, let's rewind just a second. Why don't each of you just take a minute, introduce yourself, tell us a little about who you are, and put us on the map. Where are you talking to us from? Let's start with Preston.
My name's Preston McKelvey. I grew up in western Colorado. I own an outfitting called Wild Willow Outfitters. Do guided fly fishing and bird hunting trips. And we're based out of Aspen, but pretty much cover the whole state as far as the hunting thing goes. Lived in western Colorado all my life. Been guiding for, I think this is my 10th year guiding. So that's me. Spent my life in the outdoors.
That's awesome, man.
Lucky
I love
man.
it. I love it. David, how about you, sir?
So I'm David Torres. Grew up in Southern California, and just kind of got the bug upland hunting. A buddy of mine, really good, one of my best friends, invited me to go dove hunting down in Yuma, Arizona years back, and I had a blast. I literally didn't even have a shotgun, nothing. I grew up shooting, revolvers, shooting rifles with my dad, my family. And he said, "Hey, man, let's go do it. I think you'd have a good time." And man, that's all it took. That's all it took. So,
and sorry, real quick, how long ago was that?
Man, maybe 8 years ago. About 8 years ago. Yeah. And it was my first time seeing a dog out there retrieving birds, and I was like, "Man, this is so cool to watch." And that guy showed up late, had his dog, dropped his dog, shot birds for 15 minutes and left because his dog just got all the birds, limited out, and gone. It was interesting to watch, and I was like, it was very cool. So that's what I think kind of started the bug for me.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And where are you talking to us from?
So,
you're here in Colorado too.
Yeah, I'm down in Parker, Colorado. Yeah, kind of close to Elizabeth, kind of right around that area. So. Yeah, love that area.
And right now you're roadside.
Roadside right now. Yep, had to pull over. My day went a little long at the office, so pulled over. And
it is good. It's good sound quality. So
good.
You got that going for you.
That, yeah. Good.
No echoes. Nice sound dampening. All that good stuff.
Yeah, cool.
Well, how did that? We're going to get into a lot more of your own personal stories, hunting, guiding, all that kind of good stuff. But how did you two meet? This might kind of lead into some more stuff. But how did you two get connected? And I know there's more. David or someone talk a little bit about No Fly Zone, as that's going to be a theme in the next couple episodes. We're going to be chatting with a couple members of Team No Fly Zone. So why don't you talk about how you guys met and a little bit about No Fly Zone?
Yeah. So Preston and I, man, was it that I guided? I can't remember because I used to guide a lot at an outfitter up north, and I can't remember if it was Preston that I took on a guide or not. But either way, he actually is a good friend with David Lovato, who I think you're going to interview in a few episodes from now. But we ended up meeting through Dave. We did a snake avoidance clinic out at Fetching Feathers probably 2 years ago, and that's when I first met Preston. And super cool dude, huge sumbitch. He's a tall dude, so he leaves a lasting impression. And we're talking about grouse hunting, oh man, I got a place up here or whatever. I never did get that call, Preston, but it's all good. I still love you.
We're still working.
Sounds like David's Oda grouse spot, maybe.
No, it's all good. It's all good. But anyways, yeah, so that's kind of where we met, and that's kind of how we kept in touch. And then when we started trialing, he has a flusher, I have a flusher. We're the only guys that run flushers on the No Fly Zone team. So he said, hey, why don't we just do it? So kind of went down that road and ended up being pretty successful with him on it. So, but yeah, that's kind of our story. But then with No Fly Zone, yeah, so this was started a few years back with David, his son, his brother. Man, this was probably 4 years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago now, if not longer, 5 years ago. And just trialing, there was a big competition that they were going to nationals for, and there's a team Colorado that was there, and hey, can we, we're from Colorado, and they're like, nah, we're good, So I'm like, okay. So then they kind of made up their own thing and started No Fly Zone, and it started off just 2 or 3 people, and eventually flourished into kind of what it is now. So it's really just a good group of friends that gets together. We all trial together. We train heavily. Very passionate about gun dogs. It used to be very breed specific, just GSPs, but obviously now we're kind of letting anyone in who's willing to put in the work, right? So it's a lot.
You let the two flushing guys
right?
In, so,
yeah, that says something. We're expanding our horizons a little bit, but yeah, no, that's really what it is, and we're a very competitive trialing team. We compete in a couple different arenas, and the guys have done really well, and it's just a testament to kind of how we've been doing our stuff. We train a lot, and almost every weekend we're either training dogs or we're out shooting clays and dialing in our shot. That's one thing that was always told us is when you're out there hunting, your dog's going to do his work, and it comes down to you to knock those birds down. So definitely,
so true.
Definitely a lot part of it.
So in summary, I guess, so No Fly Zone is a group of guys, about 6 or 7 of you, right?
Yeah, we're up to probably 9, 10 now.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Okay. So a little more of you. So I guess primarily, is it a group that you trial together? Is that kind of the
trial and
how it originated?
Yeah, trial and do a lot of hunting, a lot of wild bird hunting together. Yeah.
What's better than that? Come on.
It's hard. It's hard to beat, because when you're out there hunting, and I think Preston was his first time this last year going out with all of us, and we're out wild bird hunting, and we have 15 dogs out in front of us. And there's a lot going on, and it's great to see them all work together. When one dog gets on point, they all honor. They're all steady. It's a great thing to see. So definitely fun to be a part of.
It is an impressive deal. I've always hunted either by myself or one other guy and his dogs. I've never been a part of that big line pushing through the prairie, and it's fun to see 15 dogs all running around working. That's
cool. That's got to be something fun to see. I've never done the big old line hunt. I've done like maybe max 4, maybe 5. The 5th person's a blocker, but that'd be something unique to see and experience for sure.
Have to get you out, Will. It's a good time.
Absolutely.
I know you have some pretty decent dogs, right?
Yeah, they're all right.
Yeah,
The day I brag on them is the day they just give me the middle finger.
always, right?
You know how it goes. You know how it goes.
No, we don't. Not at all.
No. So that's kind of interesting. I got the two flusher guys on here. Again, I don't have a ton of guys and girls who run flushers. So what led each of you? I guess let's start with Preston. Maybe like what led you to the flushing breed, and do you have pointing breeds as well?
I do. So I have a German short hair, Willow. She just turned 5, and when I got my first dog, I wanted a versatile dog that could kind of do everything: retrieve, jump in the water, point. And Willow just wasn't that dog. She hates the water, and her retrieve is something that I have to stay on her about. So having the outfitting company, we also do guided waterfowl hunts. And I was like, well, I'm going to get me a duck dog, and then I can have one of each. The whole flushing thing kind of was an accident. I didn't intend for her to be a flusher, but kind of got peer pressured into it, and she turns out she's pretty dang good at it. So.
And sorry, you might have mentioned, what's the breed of the flusher?
She's a lab.
Lab, okay.
And that's oak.
Classic lab. That's awesome. And then David, kind of same question for you. So you got the GSP Chester first,
Yep.
right? And then what led you to say, hey, let's go totally different and go with the flusher?
Yeah, so I had Chester and Reba before I got Dolly, and just watching pointers and flushers work a field together, just seeing it done the right way was enough for me to be like, man, I could see myself having a flusher, on my string soon. And sure enough, the opportunity came upon. I actually wasn't even actively looking for a flusher. And when Anthony with Fetching Feathers reached out to me and said, hey, look, there's this family that's looking to rehome a Springer, 7-month-old, field bred out of Texas, a really good line on her. I said, you know what, let's do it. And we ended up working it out.
Why not?
Yeah, ended up working it out, and man, she literally was a firecracker from day one. As soon as I got her and did some bird intro on her, the flip switched, the switch flipped, and that was all it took. And she just nose to the ground, 100%, just balls out. I love it. And watching my dogs go on point, she notices it, she goes and flushes them. It's an awesome thing to watch. So that's kind of what did it.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I have no experience with flushers. I've hunted behind one flusher my whole life, way back in Illinois. Is it just a lot of work to kind of compartmentalize? Okay, you're training a pointing breed dog, and then you have a flushing breed dog independently, and then training them together. Like, is it just a ton of extra work?
For me, separately, not a big deal. You're going to be training a dog any way you cut it. So independently, not a huge workload. It's the teamwork that I think takes a lot of work. My short hairs rock steady on point, but I send in that flusher and they get a little competitive. And so we're working heavily on working as a team right now, and I think that's what takes the most work.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's my dogs were already 4 years old when I got Dolly, so they were already super steady, and they'd never worked with a flusher. And Reba struggled with it a little more than Chester did, but they eventually figured out their roles and the whole thing, and they just kind of expect it to happen now. But just making sure they're steady before you send that dog in there is huge, because they could definitely regress and go backwards and try to go up there and flush that dog too. Like Preston's saying, it's very competitive out there, and when they see this little white dog that looks half their size running in there getting that bird they've been pointing for 2-3 minutes, they're going to be kind of pissed about it. But it definitely takes training. Definitely takes a lot of consistent training to get that result.
Well, you guys, again, most of these questions either of you can answer, both of you. I don't care. When it comes to hunting, let's just say you're upland bird hunting. Are there certain situations you were just going to pick your flusher, or are you pretty much always going to run all of them together?
For me, last season I ran them independently. My lab was under a year at the beginning of last hunting season, and we just weren't ready to work as a team. I think this year we're going to do every hunt together except maybe ptarmigan. You're getting up to about 13,000 feet, and there's a lot of cliffs, and I've always been concerned about a dog chasing a bird over a cliff. So my flesher might sit home on a ptarmigan hunt this year. But other than that, we're going to be rolling 3 deep.
Okay. That'll be nice.
Yeah.
That'll be nice. You guys were out doing some training this past weekend, is that right? Out at Fetching Feathers, you guys were it looks like you were simulating. I mean, it looks like a field trial, or talk about what you guys were doing.
Yeah, so when we go out there, we like to simulate field trial scenarios and also throw in some wild bird stuff. So, we obviously go out, we plant our birds. Whether it's a 4-bird plant or a 3-bird plant. We didn't have shooter birds this weekend, so we're mostly working on, just making sure they're steady, flush, and then release on the shot. A lot of our dogs are steady to shot, but during the field trial season, you just want that dog to get after that bird and bring it back to you as quick as possible in the field trials that we compete in. So we're not too worried about steady to shot, but steady to flush, obviously, you need to be. So during the summertime, we like to bring them back to that because come wild bird season, we like to have them steady to shot at the beginning because when you're out there shooting coveys and, you want to make sure they're releasing on the bird that gets shot, not so much just the first bird that gets up and they're chasing a bird that's not being shot and they're 300 yards the opposite way. So, so we do simulate some of that as well. But yeah, I'd say it's mostly geared towards field trialing right now.
Yeah, That's awesome. So did both of you do trials this past season? And if so, how'd they go for you?
Go ahead, Press.
Yeah, we both competed. I competed in NAGDA, North American Gun Dog Association. Okay. I did amateur pointing. I started out in puppy with my flesher and then moved to amateur flushing. And then David and I did doubles with our fleshers. And there was some highs and lows throughout that.
Tell us about those. What were some of your highs and lows there, Preston?
My definite high was we took first in our doubles run, and I took first with my flesher. I think that was the first weekend in January. And then we both made it to nationals, made it to the final round with my flesher. Was real confident going into the last day, and just missed 2 shots, and that ended up in 5th place for me. And that was a hard pill to swallow. I think we were both equally frustrated in that situation. David had a similar story, but after a couple of weeks, I was grateful that my dog performed. I'd rather it be my mistake than my dog's mistake.
It always kind of feels better that way.
Yeah. And it's still cool that she took 5th in nationals as a 1-year-old. And she's got her whole career ahead of her. So we'll be back next year.
That's fantastic.
So looking forward to that.
And can you repeat that? What's it called again, the trial series?
It's called NAGDA, North American Gun Dog Association.
So NAGDA.
D-A.
Okay. I was writing that down. I've seen some things with that before. I never kind of knew what it stood for.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's good. And then David, same question for you. Kind of like what were some of the highs or lows of your trial season last year? And then a follow up to that. First off, go ahead with that.
So I'd say again, I think what Preston was talking about is that doubles run with 2 pups that were under a year old. Went out there and just had a killer run. I think we scored like a 298 or a 296 or something, which was pretty good. It was obviously enough to get us first place. Which was super cool because everyone sees these young dogs are like, oh, they're just going out there for fun. But these dogs went out there and killed it, and it was great. I even recorded the whole thing. I sent it to Preston, and I'm like, dude, this is so cool. I still watch it to this day.
I watch it too. I was just about to say that.
Yeah, I'm going to ride that one out a little bit. And then just seeing Dolly progress, right? So even her singles runs, she started off, we didn't have our first run, wasn't the best, just her and I. She's still figuring stuff out. She was 8 months old at the time, I think. But then within, 2 trials, she had already placed, qualified for nationals. And then obviously the other dogs, they all qualified for nationals as well. And then like Preston said, so going to nationals, we were looking really good coming in, as we call it, kind of Super Bowl Sunday is the final day, and it's the top 5 of each division. And I went in there in first place and came out of there in 5th. because of
So did
because
I.
of So it's kind of a tough pill to swallow, like you said, and it's a bummer. But at the same time, like I even put a post about it. It's like at the end of the day, these dogs are doing what they love to do. It's about them, really. Them out there just having a blast. And if you end up placing, you end up killing it. That's great. But at the end of the day, those dogs don't care about placing. They don't care about any of that stuff. They just want to go out there and hunt. So it's better to look at it a week later, I think, because day of you're like,
that's good advice.
Yeah, it's tough.
That's good advice. Walk me through what does one of these trials look like? So I've talked quite a bit on this podcast about NASTRA trials and AKC trials. This is new to me. Why don't you walk us through, like, what does a typical trial look like? Maybe some of the basic rules, outline what would someone expect?
Okay. So again, there's different divisions. There's puppy, amateur pointing, open pointing, and then amateur flushing, and then there's senior divisions, there's doubles, all kinds of fun stuff. But I guess high level, you have 20 minutes. You have, I want to say, a 20 to 30 acre field, and they plant 4 birds. So you have 20 minutes to find 4 birds, and it's not so much a judge, it's actually scoring. So, in the point division, dog releases, boom, gets on point. They make us, they jot down when that first bird was pointed. The dog has to stay steady to flush. You get up there, flush the bird, you shoot it. Every shot you take is a deduction. So you're only going to go out there with 8 shells. And that dog, you get that dog to get that bird, retrieve it to hand. If it's a partial retrieve, you get 5 points. If it's a full retrieve, you get 10 points on top of all the other points you accumulate by finding the bird, bagging the bird, and you do that for 4 different birds. The quickest one, usually you get bonus points for every unused minute you get. I think it's 2 points for every unused minute. So that's really it, and it's not so much a judge; it's actual scoring to the point. Yeah, this is a bird.
Black and white. Here is my score.
Yeah, it's not anyone like, oh, that dog's hunt better than that dog, or like, no, it's like, this is the dog getting it done, And flushing is very similar, but if they end up catching a bird, they don't get deducted for it. They just got to bring it to hand, and then you move on, right? So it's a pretty good deal. It's super fun, super competitive, but man, such a great group of people out there.
Yeah. The one question I had was, are you going out in a brace or just a single dog?
Single dogs. Yeah. So there's single dog runs. Okay. When you do a doubles run, then you have 2 dogs out there, but they're on the same team. They're not bracing. They're not hunting against each other like NASTRA is, right?
So it's not a double.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're out there hunting as a team. The 2 hunters are hunting as a team, and there it's a 6-bird plant, and you have, I think, 15 minutes, but it's a bigger field. I want to say it's typically 30 or so acres. And you have to stay a certain distance within each other. I think 50 yards is the max you can split up. So you can't just have 2 guys going in opposite directions with their dogs.
Oh.
There has to be it's kind of theoretical how you kind of go around it.
Some coordination with. Yeah.
So there's definitely some planning needed, right, Preston?
Oh yeah. And
is there who leads the strategy meeting before?
I lean on David a lot. This is my first year doing any kind of dog competition. And I leaned on David not only for our doubles run, but in my single runs as well. He's got a lot of experience in this game. I was like, all right, which direction do I head? And he would give me the game plan and lay out a path for me.
Nah, this way.
Yeah. No, but I contribute a lot of my success to both the Davids, Torres and Lovato, in my this past trial and season.
That's cool. Preston, if I were to ask you why trials, like why did you choose to, enter your dogs, run your dogs in some trials this past year? Like what was that tipping point for you that got you into it?
I didn't choose to. I got peer pressured into it.
David, did you have something to do with this?
No, it was David Lovato, and he invited me out. All these guys go out to Kansas for the pheasant opener. He invited me out. I think at the time, my lab hadn't really done any upland stuff. So she kind of was just mostly following me through the field. My short hair hunted, but that was her first kind of upland experience. He's like, well, there's this trial out here next weekend. Like, you should come out. And I was like, I don't know. I was kind of doubting my ability and my dog's ability. And so I think about it for a little while. I call him up. I'm like, all right, I want to come out and I want to watch this one. That way I kind of have an idea of what I'm getting myself into. He's like, well, if you're coming, you might as well put your puppy in it. And he's like, there's only going to be a couple puppies. You're not going to be competing against the big guy, so that'll be a nice way to get your feet wet. All right, I'll put my puppy in it. Well, if you're coming all this way, you might as well put both dogs in.
It only makes sense. It only makes sense.
So I went out. I had a blast. The first one was definitely a learning experience, but I was hooked. And then I believe the next one we went to was David Torres and I first double run, and we won that one. And I also won puppy that weekend. And that's when everybody's like, all right, you're done with puppy. You're moving up. And I'm hooked up.
You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So then finally, we just talked about, made it to nationals, and that's when I got the bug. I was like, all right, this is a commitment, and going to be part of our hunting career going forward.
That's super fun.
And I think it's also great because it extends past hunting season. So keeps your dogs on birds, kind of scratches that hunting itch a little bit. Just keeps everybody, in shape, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, like David said earlier, it's just, whether you get a placement or not, like to spend time with your dog doing something they have been bred to do. Like it doesn't get better than that, period.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter if you get a placement or not. Like, David, so you've been running these for a couple years, right?
Yeah, a few years now, yeah.
Okay. Have you seen many new people jump into this trial game that you're doing, or has it been
same people? I have quite a bit, and it's good to see. And there's a lot of younger people and a lot of older people too, and different breeds. We got anything from Munsterlanders out there. We see a lot of Brittany's now showing up. It used to be heavily just English pointers, and GSPs, but yeah, we're seeing setters out there. We're seeing all kinds of guys, new people showing up and wanting to learn. We do a lot of trialing with Colorado Gun Dog Association as well, and they have a really good intro program to anyone. Hey, your first time come out, you just come on out. You know what I mean? You get a 3-bird plant out on the novice field, and get out, get your dog on bird, see if you like this, talk to people. And it's really introduced a lot of new people to the sport. And, a lot of people are competitive and they love it. And just seeing their dog out there running, doing what it's supposed to do. And, if they don't do well, it's all good. You come back, we talk about it, say, hey, maybe do this, maybe do that. It's very, very helpful. Everyone's very helpful, and it makes it easy for new people to show up and want to show up again. Right. So,
that's really
so it's
good.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Again, the people can make it or break it. Really.
100%.
If you have a inviting culture that says, "Hey, yeah, like you said, don't worry about it. Like, try this in your next run," or like that's what makes, I think, new people especially like, okay, it might have been intimidating going into it, but when they meet people like you and Preston, it's like, all right, like this is a good group of people. It's competitive, but it's still there's like a friendly aspect to it. I think that's very appealing.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we want everyone to succeed in it. You don't want anyone to go out there and be like, man, I just wasted all my time and I had a horrible time and my dog, didn't do as well. I see people struggle with that sometimes, but it's like, no, man, dial it back. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much positive to this. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, let's back it up a little bit further for each of you. Let's go back to Preston here. Well, tell us a little bit about like how or why did you get into the outdoors? I know you're a fishing guide, hunting. Like, what was that start for you into the outdoors, upland hunting?
So going back to a real little kid, it was mostly like all my friends hunted growing up. I was raised by a single mom, so guns and hunting wasn't really part of our household. But a lot of my close friends hunted. So that's kind of how I got into big game as a little kid. I mean, everybody's dad was super helpful, taught me to shoot guns, took me out hunting. Took me a while to get the fly fishing bug. That came more in my adult life. Didn't really have the patience to sit down and learn it necessarily. Then I started working for another outfitter in town. and they were big into bird dogs. So I'd go on a lot of hunts just as like a bird boy or an extra set of hands for gun safety. And that's really where I got the bug for bird dog, bird hunting, and shotgun shooting. Then I got my German short hair, and it was off to the races from there. And we
just fast and furious.
And I've made a lot of mistakes with her. I tried to hurry through the process, and I just wanted a gun dog, just wanted to go hunting, and probably skipped over a few steps that now you can see see where those weaknesses are. But it was a good learning experience, and with my second dog now, I slowed it down a little bit, was a little more thoughtful in the process, and I think I'm going to have a lot more success that way.
I always feel bad for those first dogs for new. I mean, my Gage, he's my oldest, my first bird dog. I always feel bad for those first dogs now. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. all the things I thought I knew, and
it's very
second
true.
dogs they usually turn out a little better because we know a little more. Preston, real quick, what led you to GSP?
The outfitter I was working for, they had GSPs, and the founder of that business was a longtime family friend, and kind of mentored me getting into gun dogs. And he had a German short hair, and not knowing a lot about gun dogs, I was like, I want a German short hair too. And then so he kind of ignited a little bit of the interest in it, and then got introduced to a guy who middleman the deal with the breeder, and he was a big gun dog guy, and he had a lot of short hairs, and he kind of mentored me through those early steps, training her.
Nice.
But I just like the look. I kind of like their stealthiness, the way they move, and not having to brush them out. And, comb out all the birds is always a plus too.
So nice.
Yes, that's very
kind of
nice.
Jealous of that. Yeah. David, how about you, man? Where this bug really, I guess, take over? I know you said a quail hunt, right?
Yeah.
So did you do any hunting as a kid, or what?
No, as a kid, I did a lot of target shooting with my dad. We used to go up. So we lived in Southern California. We go up to Big Bear and go do some target shooting up there. Mostly BB guns, pellet guns, and every now and then he'd break out his 30-30 or his 38, 9mm. Just out there. Just plinking stuff, it was super fun. But no, it wasn't until I was probably 29-ish, 30-ish when my buddy invited me out to go for that dove hunt, and I did, and man, I fell in love with it. It was just the rush of this was in Yuma, Arizona. I don't know if you guys ever hunt in Yuma, Arizona, but man, it's
not yet.
It's nuts. I mean, we limit out within a half an hour every year because there's just so many dove out there, and it's fun. But it's good because you're done before it gets too hot. By 8 o'clock it's 95 degrees, so it's still bearable. But yeah, it gets hot quick up there. But so did that, and then my same buddy was like, "Hey, let's go quail hunting." So we didn't have dogs. So we would go out and call them in using reed calls, and just seeing him do that for the first time, seeing them call them in. He brought a covey into within 10 yards of us, and we finally walk up, they flush, boom, and it was a good size. It was probably a 40 bird covey, and just that rush, that sound, that just the whole thing, man. That's what did it 100%. So then the dog thing was in the back of my head, and so I was like, I'm going to start getting dogs here.
That's the natural next step. So you were just following along. So David, for you, being what you said, 8 years into this now, about
that, yeah.
So let's just say 8 years. So being 8 years into this, upland hunting, bird dogs, like what keeps you going? Is it still the excitement of the flush and the covey finds?
Yeah, 100%.
What keeps you going?
It's got to be, honestly, the dogs at this point. I used to do some big game hunting. I used to go turkey hunting and all that fun stuff, but it doesn't compare to hunting behind a dog or a group of dogs. And I think that's what it is. It's just seeing the dogs work. You can go out there and not shoot a dang shell at all, or have a layup get in front of you, you just whiff it. But yeah, it sucks when that happens. But at the same time, just watching the dogs work is really what does it for me. And when we guide, a lot of the guys are like, I just came out here to walk behind and watch these dogs work, and it's funny how therapeutic it could be, and you don't even realize it, just watching the dogs all work together. I think that's what does it for me 100%, and yeah, the cubby flush, I love it. That's a hard thing to be.
They'll never get old.
Or you get a rooster that gets up cackling away. It's like, that's so fun. But it's got to be the dogs for me 100%.
Yeah. That's kind of the cool part, as you might be able to relate with this. But the further we're into this, I think we can appreciate the dog work more than bagging a bird. Yeah. At least for me, if there's at least good dog work for my dogs, I'm like success. I'm like the call to the wife home on the way home. My voice, I'm like, hey, had a great time. She's like, well, how many birds do you take? I'm like, well, none, but
exactly.
The dogs did awesome.
Oh my God.
That's a good day.
I think we've made that call a handful of times to our wives, where it's like, man, we had a great time. Oh, how many birds? None, but man, you should have seen what happened with these 2 dogs. Wait, what? None?
Wait,
yeah.
Aren't you bummed? Like, no, it was awesome.
Yeah. But you just drove 4.5 hours and you came back with nothing.
Yep.
I came back with memories.
I'll do it again tomorrow.
100%.
But then there's those calls that, I missed a bird or whatever, and she knows. She's like, oh, you had a bad day, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little rough.
But then she knows enough to be like, but how do the dogs do? And I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right. No, the dogs are great. Yeah.
Turning point.
Yeah.
Oh, so fun. Well, all right. So wild birds. We are so close to season opening here. What are you guys looking forward to right now?
My favorite bird to hunt is ptarmigan.
Really?
It's kind of, like I said, you got to get up to about 13,000 feet. It's next level adventure. I mean, planes are flying by eye level with you. And it's hard. It's hard on the dogs. It's hard on you. And you're sucking wind the whole time. But they're definitely my favorite bird to hunt, my favorite bird to eat.
Really? Even to eat as well?
Yeah. And then my next favorite is blue grouse, which starts September 1st. It's just kind of home court advantage. I can go out my back door and hunt them. So that's a close second for me.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, so tell me about ptarmigan. What I guess meat wise, like what are they comparable to?
I would say probably closest to a dove.
Oh, really?
Kind of a real light meat. Flavor's great. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. They look most similar to a grouse as far as like body style and size and everything. But definitely tastes better than a grouse in my opinion.
Dude, you're not the norm. Not everyone can say they hunt ptarmigan and enjoy it that much without.
Yeah.
Because that's an adventure for, like you said, you're sucking wind, man. I mean, I live here at what we're at, David, 5,500 feet or something like that.
Yeah.
I go up to 7,000. I'm dying.
Well, my house is at 75, so it's not as big a jump, but you still feel it up there.
Oh, absolutely. Are you bringing those little cans of the oxygen?
I never have, but that's not a terrible idea.
You don't?
No.
Oh, wow.
I'm not that fancy.
This is a machine.
I'd bring that just for a safety backup.
Yeah. But that's what I look forward to the most. And it's a needle in a haystack. You'll either kill a limit or you won't see any. Once you get on them, they're pretty easy to kill, but finding them is the hard part. And they're kind of gray in the summer and they're white in the winter. So during hunting season, they're kind of this marbly color, and they blend in. Yeah. Without a dog, I mean, you'll walk right past them.
That's fun, man. Real quick on blue grouse, and you said you hunted them quite a bit as well.
Mm-hmm.
I talked with Andy Wayman actually a few weeks ago about blue grouse. So talk about Colorado blue grouse, because he hunts them mainly in Idaho. Colorado blue grouse, are you finding them in the trees and the thick stuff? Are you finding them in sage at all?
I don't personally find them in sage. It's kind of an elevation thing. So every year they're kind of at a different elevation band. And where we are, by the time you get into sage, I think you're just too low. It's too hot. Early season, aspen groves, rosebuds, and then they'll start transitioning into the pines. If you can find, dotted aspen trees through the pines, that'd be good, later in September, and then they're in the pines, the rest of the year. And I've always struggled finding them once the snow falls. Some guys can stay on them all season, but come end of October, November, I start really struggling trying to get on them.
Okay. Yeah, and the reason I asked that, so I was doing a scouting trip a while back, and I found them in the sage, actually. I mean, several hundred yards away from any, like, trees or anything. And I know they were blue grouse. They weren't sage grouse. But, again, that was summer. So I'm imagining if I were to go back to that similar spot, they're going to be higher up in the trees. Is that right?
Yeah, and they're kind of deceiving. I'll see them all spring and summer and be like, oh, it's going to be a great year, and I'll go back to there, and they've moved on.
Gone.
But yeah, I'd say, and they're some years they'll be at 8,000 feet, some years they'll be at 10,000 feet, and it's just kind of you got to find that right zone to get in, and it changes every year, and I think that's water level or moisture, which plays a part in berries and grasshoppers and everything else they eat. So
sure. Yeah, very cool. David, how about you, man? What are you looking forward to this season? It's coming up.
Man, you know what? Last year was my first year going out on like an almost week-long Sharpie hunting trip, and man, that was such a good time. It was around the first weekend of the season, so I think it was September 3rd or 2nd or 3rd, 4th, something like that. And man, it was such a good time. And it was my first hunt with Dolly on wild birds. So she was still figuring out her range. She's a flusher, but man, she was flying around like a crazy pointer because she was 7 months old at the time. But man, once I got her reeled in, and she worked really well with the dogs, and just letting the dogs run big, and watching them get out there on point, 300, 400 yards out, and holding steady till you get up there, and then you whip the shot. Man, my shot was so bad last year.
But you can smile about it. You can smile about it.
Now I can, but man, I was like, God, these are layup birds, and they're just getting past me. I don't know what it was, but that's what I'm looking forward to, getting up into Sharpie country and just walking rolling hills at 8,000 feet and watching my dogs run big. Was that your ever first Sharpie hunt, or have you hunted Sharps before? Yeah, no, that was my first Sharpie hunt. Okay. Yeah. I was able to go up there with Anthony and David and a few other really good guys, and man, they got us on really good areas, and it was a blast. And being out there with them, I mean, a lot of it too comes down to who you go out there with and share the experiences with. So, yeah, it was a great time. Totally. Yeah, but I'd say that for sure. Awesome. Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you guys do any out-of-state hunting, or you primarily stay in Colorado here?
Yeah, I go. We go to Nebraska, we go to Kansas. We spend a lot of time out in Kansas. Do a lot of hunting out there with a guide that he always gets us on really good stuff. Very good family. He's got a couple kids that are just crack shots, and they handle their own dogs, and they just humble us like crazy out there. But it's a good time. So we do a lot of Kansas. I'll go out to Arizona every year for the Yuma. The Dove opener is just a fun get together with family and friends. It's like a yearly thing. We just go out there, shoot birds for a day or two, and then I fly home. I don't bring the dogs because it's so dang hot and so quick that I just don't even worry about it. But
when is their Dove opener?
September 1. Yeah, so I'll go out there the day before. We'll scout, check out our usual spots if there's good flight paths, and we'll come back there and hunt them the next morning, shoot them down the next morning. But yeah, and then we'll go. Man, we have a Montana hunt coming up in end of September, which we're looking forward to. It's gonna be a big team hunt, so it'll be a good time. But yeah, we kind of go all Midwest. I'd like to get up to Idaho and Montana. We did some hunting in Wyoming last year too, so it's a good time.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. It sounds like a good season coming up for both of you. I had a follow-up question for that, but it is completely just left left the frame. It was a good one too. It was a good one. But something about Kansas. No, was it Kansas? Oh, dove. I know it was dove. I've never hunted dove actually.
Yeah.
To this day, I've never hunted dove. And it sounds like a blast, but just not something I have not made time for and prioritize it all. But Preston, have you ever got out for a little dove hunt?
A little bit. I got to travel a little bit to get into some morning doves. So I'm looking at like a 2-hour drive, and then public lands. It's not great.
Sure.
It's not like going out on the plains or anything. But they are fun. They'll make you a good shot. You got to be quick on your toes for some doves.
Totally. I don't feel bad for you though, because you're only like an hour away from ptarmigan, or less.
Yeah, less than that. I mean, probably like 30 miles, but probably takes an hour to get up there. Just
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
That's fun. Well, guys, as we'll start turning the corner, start to wrap this thing up a little bit. One of the things I like to ask every guest is talking to the rookie upland hunter out there, someone who maybe is this year, even they're just getting into it. Maybe they picked up their first bird dog recently. What is a piece of advice that you would share with them going into their first season?
Go ahead, Preston.
Put in the work. And that's across the board. If you're going to get a dog, I think you owe it to the dog to do the best of your ability. Keep your dog on birds, put in the work, try to do it right. We all make mistakes with our first dog. But, do your research, find a mentor. That's a huge one. Getting into it blind without somebody to kind of show you the way makes it a lot tougher. So if you've got a good mentor and a good dog handler you can look up to, and whatever that takes to get in with him, whether it's scoop and poop or helping him run his dogs, or you gotta pay it forward and earn that respect to have that knowledge passed down to you. So I wouldn't. My advice would be don't be afraid of the work.
That's really good. One more follow-up question for you, Preston. Thinking back to last season, what was kind of a standout moment for you for last hunting season? I know we talked about trials a little bit, but thinking about wild bird hunting, like what was a moment for you that just kind of stood out to you in your mind and will stay with you for a while?
Opening day of bluegrass season, we went out into an area that generally it has birds but isn't lights out kind of area. And it was opening day. A buddy of mine had a young dog. It was his first season, and we probably put up 30 bluegrass, which is the most birds I've ever seen in a day. And we shot a 2-man limit and made it home by breakfast. So that's my standout moment from last year and my whole bluegrass career, because I don't see 30 birds in a day. So
that's incredible.
That's cool.
That is incredible. That's awesome, man. David, for you, the rookie question, what piece of advice would you give to someone heading into their first season?
I'd say I agree, put in the work, but also don't be afraid to reach out. Reach out to people that either you follow. I know Instagram is a big way to follow people and get to know people. Don't be afraid to reach out. If you guys are in the same town, same state, reach out to them. Ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to fail, because it's going to happen. Even this past weekend, we had stuff come up, right? And our dogs are pretty well rounded, but stuff happens, right? So I'd say keep expectations realistic, right? Just because you see another guy that has the same, a dog from the same litter as yours, and that dog's out there steady to shot already at 8 months old, and your dog is not holding point, don't hold it against them. Keep expectations realistic. Every dog is different. But ask questions, reach out, offer to help, offer to, being new to it, you probably don't have sweet spots. And a lot of guys are going to be hesitant to give you sweet spots. So expect that. You know what I mean? Honey holes, you hardly ever get those from anybody. But you're more likely to do it as you gain trust, as you ask questions, become one of the guys, and just be yourself. A lot of guys, there's been times where we meet people and they're right away, it's like, no, this guy's just looking for one thing. You know what I mean? So don't be that guy. Be the guy that's gonna ask questions and is gonna be willing to be a sponge and take in whatever information, whether it's good or bad, and just always try to be better, be a better handler and a better hunter. You know what I mean? It's not easy to get a dog to a point where it's going to be out there killing it the first season. Take your time with it.
Yeah. Man, I could not have said that better. That's phenomenal advice for anyone, honestly. Real expectations, whether it's been doing this 5 months or 5 years. I think that's a really good piece of advice right there. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
All right, rapid fire section here. I'm going to ask you guys both a couple questions, and we'll round this thing out. Just give me your off the cuff answer, and we will bring this thing home. Cool. All right. Let's go, Preston. For you, what came first, the dog, the gun, or the bird?
That's kind of a two-part answer for me. I've always had a fascination with working dogs. Whether it's herding, search and rescue, whatever it may be, police dogs. So I've always had an interest in dogs, but the gun came first in my timeline as far as what I was actively doing.
Love it. David, same question for you. What came first, the dog, the gun, or the bird?
Yeah, I definitely say the gun. I mean, I was shooting a gun when I was probably 4 years old, shooting a little BB gun, a little Daisy, plinking little beer cans. So that was it.
There you go. And that made you an impeccable shot today still,
I
right?
mean, crack shot, baby. Yeah.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah.
Preston, what gun are you carrying into the field and why?
So I have an unorthodox answer for that. The shotguns that I carry.
I like this. You're giving these like not direct answers, but kind of like a different answer.
I have to preface it with that. No one really knows what I'm talking about. So the guns I have, most of them are made by American Tactical. I carry them because they're affordable. If they get dropped, dinged up, they're great for guiding for that same reason. But they're super light. I think my 12 gauge is 6 pounds, and my 28, which I use for mostly everything except for pheasant and waterfowl, is I think it's 4.5 pounds. So super light, super affordable, and that's why I like it.
Yeah, that's great, man. I haven't heard that brand before. That's cool. David, what gun are you carrying into the field and why?
So CZ Upland Ultralight. It's just a shotgun that I'm not afraid to bang up. It's a shotgun that has never failed on me. I've had it for probably 3-4 years now, and I have Briley chokes on it, and that thing shoots great. I know some people like to knock on them a lot, but man.
What gauge?
12
gun?
gauge, yep. 12 gauge, 28-inch barrel, over under. Okay. Yeah, and great gun.
Is this the green OD green barrels?
No, this is just the black. It's like a flat black barrel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Never met anyone that has had that green OD barrel in that. And it's a little interesting. I'd love to see what.
Yeah, my brother has that. He has that, but it's I forget which one it was that has the magnetic. I forget what it is, so that the shells don't come out on it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but he's got the OD. It's an interesting color. It's cool.
Yeah, I bet. Very cool. All right, a few more here. Well, let's stick with David here. Favorite breed of dog besides the ones you own?
Dang. I'll tell you what. This past weekend, and I was saying this to the guys out there. I was like, man, that setter looks good. There's a setter. We got a guy on the team that, man, his setter just beautiful dogs, man.
Just something about him.
Yeah, and then there was a French Brittany out there that was out there killing it too. It was like a one-on-one.
Okay.
Just killing it. And I'm like, yeah, well, those might be one of my next dogs right there. Yeah.
Piques your interest.
100%.
It sounds like.
Yeah.
Preston, favorite breed besides the ones you own?
I'm going wire hair Griffon.
All right, you had that queued up.
Yep, I was ready.
David,
come on. No. You're good.
The bearded wonder. The bearded wonder.
And I think I've really entertained the idea of that being my next dog. My only hesitation is them in the heat. Is the only reason I don't have one now. So
that's valid. That is valid. You just shave them down. I mean, it's no big deal.
Well, then they just look weird.
I shaved my Brittany this summer, and oh man, I felt so bad for him. He looked like a pointer, like a tailless pointer, basically.
Yeah. Really?
And I just felt so bad. That was bad. But it grew back now. It's all good. All right, sticking with the dog. Which one of you is more likely to get a puppy next?
I don't know. We've had this conversation.
I'm waiting.
I would say it's kind of a toss-up, but he's already got 3, and I'm down to 2 at the moment. So I'll probably.
So what's 4, David?
I'll probably be the next one to get a puppy.
Okay, more realistic.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll see you with that wire hair Griffon. So.
Yep. Coming to a town near you.
Yep.
Yeah. Watch out, Colorado. Watch out. David, most clays you've ever hit in a row? No lying.
Man, I am not a good clay shooter. I'll be the first to tell you. I don't even know. Maybe 7, 8. I don't know. I'm not a good
that's
shot.
Decent.
Yeah, I'm not a good shot with clay.
That's something.
Yeah.
That's something. Preston.
I'm going either 22 or 23 on the skeet range.
Really? That's pretty good, man.
Yeah. Still,
It's a lot better than David.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Everybody's better than David.
This guy. Get out of here.
Here we go.
All right.
All right, just two more here. We'll stick with Preston. Fantasy hunt. This is kind of a new question I'm testing out. It's actually, you guys are actually the first ones I'm trying this on. Where at? What bird? With who? You can only bring one dog.
I'm going northern Wisconsin woodcock hunt.
Okay.
Taking my short hair.
Okay.
And the person's toss-up. I'd bring one of the Davids.
Whoa! Wow, I mean, David, you made his top 2 list.
Hey, I'll take it. To be considered next to Lovato, I'll take it.
Whoever answers the phone first.
Yeah.
Better call me first.
David's just gonna be looking at his phone the whole next couple months. David, same thing for you. Where, what bird, with who? Only bring one dog.
Gosh, man, that's tough. Where? Man, I love me some quail hunting. So I'd got to go Arizona, southern Arizona. What bird? Obviously quail. I'll take any species of quail. They got all kinds down there. They're all beautiful. What dog? Gosh, that's tough.
I know, man. I knew you were going to struggle with this one.
Probably Chester. Okay. Yeah, he was my, he's the leader right now for me, and he's.
Man, don't tell that to Dolly and
I know. No, I mean, he's earned it. If there was one dog I could take, it'd be him. He's doing it great. And then the one person, I kind of got to say Preston, right? No, but yeah.
Hey, there's no rules. No rules.
I'd say either Preston or Dave Lovato too. I mean, I learned a lot.
Oh, two for David.
Yeah,
wow.
He's a stand-up dude, great guy, and man, he's a wealth of knowledge. So definitely.
That's cool. Okay. All right, last one. Preston, beverage of choice after a hunt.
Go on another unorthodox answer here.
Oh gosh.
A brisk iced tea.
Killing me here.
Brisk iced tea from the gas station.
Oh my
Shut the front door.
You're kidding me.
This is over. We're done.
Canceling this.
Done. Delete.
That's my
first one, of course. First one of it who's ever said that.
Favorite treat, like even after a fishing trip when it's hot out, that's like the most refreshing thing. I don't drink beer, so that's my
That's
answer.
brisk, baby.
You know what? Just you're owning it. It's brisk iced tea, man. I mean, it had its run back in the day, but it's a little, I don't know.
He misses the commercials. I can see it.
Oh gosh. Okay, we're gonna move on. David, beverage of choice.
For me, just an ice cold Miller Lite. I mean, all day.
Okay.
Yeah, you can slam that anytime, and it just goes down.
Miller
good.
time.
Oh yeah.
I haven't had Miller Lite in probably 10 years.
Really? Well, when we go hunting, that's all we drink.
All right. I'll bring some Coors just in case.
There you go. Yeah. And maybe a brisk iced tea. Now we got to throw that one in.
And, I mean, we got to have, at least a couple liters.
There you go.
Oh, God.
I'll hunt with you any day.
Oh, gosh. This is like the Cal Hardy interview all over.
Oh,
him
my
and
God.
his Smuckers.
Yep. That kid,
golly.
that's nuts. He loves them.
I mean, he's not wrong though about those. I actually agree with him on that. So
yeah, he definitely got me on those Smuckers on the Uncrustables after that hunt.
It's perfect, man. It's like go-to
protein, sugar, all the high the fats. Oh, it's so good.
The only downside is if you eat them a little too fast, they kind of get stuck right here. So you got to kind of pace yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, I think this is a sign that the podcast is over.
You brought up risk, Preston. That's all it is.
I mean, this Preston just brought this down. But so, guys, thank you so much. It's been a lot of fun getting to chat with you guys more, getting to know you both more. I know we're going to be chatting with a few more members of the No Fly Zone team. So thank you both for your time. Obviously, you guys have your own Instagram page, right? Just No Fly Zone.
Yeah. It's okay. No Fly Zone HT. Is the Instagram for the team. Yep.
Okay. And then David, I know you're on Instagram, right?
Yep. So _Torres David _ is my Instagram.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, Preston, last question for you.
Yes, sir.
I just have a feeling you're not a social media guy. I have no idea why I think that. But are you on social media?
I am. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Fine.
Personally and professionally.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. My personal Instagram is Preston.McKelvey. And the business is wild_willow_outfitters.
Fantastic. Okay. Cool, guys. Well, guys, this has been a ton of fun. Thanks for spending your Monday night with me and chatting bird dogs and hunting and trials and all that good stuff.
Cool, Will. Thanks for having us,
man. This is awesome. Yeah, thank you for having us.
Absolutely, guys. You take care.
All right. See you. Thanks, guys.
And that's a wrap of episode 63 with David Torres and Preston McKelvey. Guys, thank you so much for jumping on here and sharing more about your passion and love for the uplands, bird dogs, and just sharing more of your personal journeys. Don't forget, guys, we are going to be doing a couple more episodes with the rest of the crew from Team No Fly Zone over the next month or two, so make sure you stay tuned for that to get to know the rest of the gang as we go here. Hey guys, if you have not already left a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, would you take a quick minute, head over to Apple Podcasts, leave a star rating and a written review. It would greatly help, help serve the algorithm gods out there in the Apple Podcast world. Helps the show get out there to more hunters, more bird dog lovers, just like you guys. And it's really motivating. And I read these written reviews that you guys read and how this show has inspired you or helped you in some way, whether it's big or small. It's super encouraging to me reading through some of those. So take a minute, head over there, leave a rating and review. We are on, we have a YouTube channel, Facebook page, and Instagram as well. If you have questions for me, Instagram's probably the best way to get a hold of me. Other than that, I have a listener question or a listener request. If there's anyone in the Kansas general area, general Kansas, that knows a great taxidermist, would you let me know? I'm going to pass it on to this listener and try to get him some help. He shot his first prairie chicken and he wants to get it mounted. And I think that's so cool. It's a great story behind this bird. And so if you know a great taxidermist in the Kansas area, Kansas City, he might be near like eastern Kansas, let me know and we'll get this passed on to him. So greatly appreciate it. Until next time, put some miles on those boots and follow your favorite bird dog. Take care.